What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Dave, OrgoneGenerator.com. So, a quick question. What is the first thing you should do when you get an orgone generator? And it's actually a very good question. There's a huge difference in people between the people who feel orgone strongly and the people who do not. Now, I felt it real, like my first time, I felt it really, really strongly. Okay. And that's why I'm here right now. There are people who will at least claim that they don't feel anything, but I have actually targeted people like that. And I've looked into their eyes and I can see that they're filled with orgone. And then they'll still just be like, no, don't feel anything, you know? So the first thing you should do with orgone, if you feel it, you will become, if you feel it, and especially if you feel it strongly, you will become a fanatic. And if you don't feel it, well, I've been able to guide people through certain exercises in order to like help them feel it. Why don't people feel it? It could be mindset. People like to be like, I'm really skeptical. Okay, cool. It could be nerve endings. People feel different things with orgone. Most people feel one thing. Other people feel other things. It could be, hate to say it, it could be karmic. So what I would recommend you do when you get an orgone generator for the first time, because the first time is really, it's incredible. What I would recommend you do is take your orgone generator, plug it in. Don't worry about like running operations immediately. Just flip it on and sit next to it. Okay. And so I've got my Rad 5 here. I've got like pyramids, nice salt lamp, nice plant. And I'm going to do a video on orgone and plants. But what you should really do here is, in my opinion, is flip your generator on, pump the frequency up as high as possible and sit with it. And then as you're sitting with it, I would recommend you target yourself. Okay. And the first thing I would do is I would clear yourself of negative energy, clear myself of negative energy. All right. So, and the exact phrase that I use for that is immediately and completely clear of all negative energy. So you could sit next to your generator and, you could write that trend down, put it in your generator or on your generator, under your generator, right next to the output tube. And then, as usual, like visualize. Okay, so imagine like a laser from your generator is shooting into you and it's pushing out all like the dark energy, making you clean, clear, spotless. Okay. So the first thing I would do is that. And then the second thing I would do is like, you can run a number of operations. For example, you could say like, you, the target, am incredibly sensitive to orgone. So that'll actually help you feel the orgone. You can say, I strongly feel feelings of energy. All right, or I strongly feel all orgone, or I am completely saturated by orgone. So you don't have to do these operations. I personally would. The very first time I ever felt an orgone generator, I was in the Philippines. I was living in the southern Philippines, and Nick was in Texas, and he targeted me with an array of generators, and I felt it strongly within minutes. And then it continued to intensify over 20, 30 minutes, 2-3 hours. Like I felt it strong. I felt it really strong. So like if you feel that, especially if it's non-local. So like I didn't have a generator with me at the time. I was being targeted by a generator that is literally on the other side of the world. And that's another test that I would recommend you do. But like the first, like is do non-local. So go put your generator in another room. Leave it at your house, apartment, go somewhere else, and then use it to target yourself. Like that's a huge realization, is that like the energy moves at any distance. and instantaneously. Now, it might take you a few minutes to like get saturated and start to really feel it. So if you don't feel something immediately, don't worry about it. But most people are going to feel like warm electrical energy. Some people will feel like a cooling breeze. But I think the main thing to do, like when you get a generator, is just like, let's feel the energy. And we've got training. So we've got a new private community, school, skool.com/Orgone. That is, in that training, I've got like how to actually see Orgone. Like the first thing when you get a generator is like flip the generator on and feel the energy. And if you feel it strongly, like the people who are like the hardest core fans, customers, like the people, the enthusiasts, like the people who are into it, it's like because they felt they felt the energy really, really strongly. Okay, so the first thing I would do is like try to feel the energy, and I would sit next to it, or I would run operations on it. But I think it's like, and then like once you feel it really strongly, you'll never go back. Now, some people don't feel it strongly. And I've, like I said, I've had people who act like they don't, like, but I look into their eyes and I can see the orgone in their body. But they're just like, no, I'm skeptical. I don't, and that sort of mindset can annoy me. You need to feel your body, be present in your body. I have taken people who didn't feel anything and I've given them exercises. In order to like tap into that energy. Remember, chi is subtle energy. That's another name for it. Chi, orgone, it's subtle energy. That's another name for it. So what you can do if you have a generator is flip the generator on, like I said, highest frequency possible for me personally. And what I would do is like make sure your body's feeling good. Stretch out. Maybe you did like a workout, a little cardio, like make sure your body is feeling good. And also that you're not like stressed. You're not thinking about all the things you have to do tomorrow or later. Okay. So clear mind. Meditation is great. So I would meditate, just like stop the mind from spinning. Okay. And then when you've got the generator on, just sit there and feel your body. Because you're becoming, especially if you have operations on you, like, completely fill with life energy, something like that, like you're telling the generator to fill you with life energy, you are the target versus just the surrounding area. Sit there and feel your body. Go inside your body. Like under our skin, we have another body, like an energetic body. A good way to test this is like hold your dominant hand. Most people are right-handed. Hold your dominant hand out and look at it, and then feel it from the inside, like you're looking at skin. Feel the skin from the inside. Okay, and then keep going through other parts of your body, like go up your arm, go down your chest. That's where the subtle energy occurs. So if I weren't really feeling anything, what I've told people to do is like meditate, sit with it, breathe, and just feel their inner body. Feel their inner body. And when they do that, like I had one guy who like was just like adamant that he did not feel anything. And then I had him go through these exercises and he goes, okay, I felt it really strongly. Now he had some interesting beliefs, and I think those beliefs might have prevented him from fully feeling everything. But when he went through these exercises, he felt it like really strongly. So what I would say is like, if you feel it strongly, you're going to be hooked, period. Like if you just like, if it hits you and you got it, like you're going to feel really strongly. If you have to go through the exercises I'm talking about, like meditation, like feeling your inner body, like breathing, etc., you'll probably be less hardcore about it, but you can still really feel it. Okay, like go into your body, feel the energy in your body. And what I would really recommend, and this is like not quite the first thing you should do, but sitting in orgone energy, sitting in it and feeling it, that is I think that's a great thing to do because when you sit in the energy, you begin to understand its characteristics. And one characteristic that it has is like it's universal life energy. It is powered by and contains universal intelligence. And so when you sit in the energy, like the most sensitive to energy people I know, when they sit in orgone, in a field of orgone, they they can feel the intelligence, you know, and we've talked about that before. Like, an analogy I use is like, okay, orgone is like the kraken. The kraken, the sea beast. You tell it what to do, and then it goes and figures out a way to do it. Like you give it a target, and you tell it what to do, and it figures out the way to do it. That's kind of what orgone is like. There's no, if you sit in the energy, you'll feel the intelligence. It's not just this like, oh, it feels good. Oh, it's positive energy. It is energy that has universal intelligence. And so I would actually really recommend, like when you get a generator, to spend time sitting in the energy. You can target yourself. You can just be around it. Okay. But I think it's great to really feel like the intelligence of the of the energy. Then you can do stuff, with your generator, like, okay, switch frequencies. See how does the energy feel different with the different frequencies. But initially, like the number one thing, if I had to, you could even run an operation on yourself. I am very sensitive to feeling orgone. You could do that before, like along as soon as you turn on your machine. Like the number one thing I want, and it's kind of just like, it really is the dividing line between most people who really love the machines and love all this, and people who are just like, okay, like maybe. The dividing line is just, what is their first experience with it? You know, like, like I said, I was on the other side of the world from the generator that hit me, and I can't. I mean, it was an intense experience. So obviously, I'm all about it. I mean, that night, I remember that night, it changed my life. So I want your life change as well. I want you to feel this, like whether you feel it or not, it's still happening. Okay. And if you are, maybe you didn't feel it that much when you turned it on the first time and you haven't used it in a while because like, it's not that big a deal to you. Maybe you, didn't feel anything. Like what I would say is just, if you feel it really strongly, fantastic. You're all about it. If you don't, clear your mind, clear your body, meditate, breathe, focus. Remember, it's subtle energy, and again, like most people are going to feel warm electrical energy, but some people are going to feel like a cooling breeze. So you might not have known what to feel. Like what should I be feeling is something like people ask a lot. So those are the things you should be feeling. Okay, so what I would say is like sit with your generator, clear your mind, clear your body, like clear negativity, like all negative energy, and then just sit and feel subtle energy. And I think if you do that, if you're actually like serious about that, you do it in good faith, you actually make an effort. I have never seen anyone who's actually made an effort to feel orgone, who's like a good faith, real effort. I've never seen anyone who, like everyone I've ever seen who's made a good faith effort ends up feeling it. Okay. So yeah. And like, I want people to love this stuff as much as we do. So I want you to feel it the first time. I want you to feel it like super strongly. Then you can worry about like, operations and like doing stuff. But like at the start, feel it yourself. Let it well up in you. Let it saturate you. I mean, it's prana. It's pure prana, pure chi, pure life energy. It's and the default is positive. So it's fantastic. Yeah, it's a great feeling. So I want you to feel it like I felt it. If you don't have a generator, I'd say give one a try, and then you can see if you feel it. If you have one but haven't been using it, perfect, perfect. Use flip it back on and follow these directions, and maybe you'll get kind of like a rebirth. All right, but I love Orgone Energy. I'm constantly connected to my generators, and yeah, that's the first thing you should do with an Orgone generator. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Again, Dave from orgonegenerator.com. More videos coming, and we will talk to you soon.